What's up, comic fans? I'm Tor the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this is IMPERIUS REX.
You got a case of the giggles.
I know, I'm really happy about this one because it's one of my favorite stories. Today we're talking about Robert Kirkman's
Tell me more.
Invincible.
Oh!
I know. So sit back and enjoy the show. It's going to be a good one.
I hope so.
So back in 2004...
We think. We didn't really do that much research.
Robert Kirkman, around the time he came out with Walking Dead, also came out with this title, Invincible. And it turned into one of my favorite stories of all time.
The end.
Thanks for joining us.
Right.
No, but Invincible is a really good story. It's first started with Cory Walker as the artist, and he was on it for, I think, a dozen issues
12?
or so. And that might not be right. It's roughly around there.
Could be a baker's dozen.
And then Ryan Ottley took over as the artist, and since then, it's definitely been his book.
Yeah.
With little stints here and there from Cory Walker going back and doing some like tie-ins. The story revolves around Mark Grayson, the title character Invincible.
Young kid.
Yep.
Teenager. But Mark has no powers.
No, he does not. He finally gets them when he's...
You ever read Invincible?
Yep. And it starts out his dad is the Superman character of that universe.
Omni-Man.
Correct. And
For legal reasons.
and from there, he has almost the exact, from the get-go, he has almost the exact same origin as Superman. He comes to this planet, and he's essentially his savior.
Force of good.
Yep.
Everyone loves him.
It's so cool. There's like a dinner scene, like in the first issue, rushes in and sits down, and then he's like, oh, what were you doing? Oh, I was fighting some monster over in China or whatever. And they're like, that's nice. And they just like continue eating and all that stuff.
The wife is great.
Yeah.
His mother and
I love
Omni-Man's wife. She's just the most, like, she knows it. She's heard it 100 times, and she's accepted that this guy just blasts off, saves the world, and comes back. And just come to terms with it. Like, doesn't even bat an eye.
No. But you quickly find out that maybe Omni-Man's not all that he says he is, or what the public thinks he is.
What?
That's right. It's very early on, so I'm going to spoil it a little bit.
We're going to spoil the fuck out of this book, because there's shit to spoil in every issue.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Omni-Man was not there to save the world. His race, the Viltrumites, were there to conquer the world.
That's what he's doing on Earth?
That's what he's doing.
He's going to conquer the Earth?
He's going to do it.
Who's going to stop him?
Well.
Ooh. Ah.
Actually, very early on, Omni-Man, there's like a Justice League called the Guardians of the Globe in this. And they are Justice League ripoffs. There's like Darkwing and the Martian. I don't think the Martian's in it yet, but...
there's a fish guy.
There's a fish guy.
He sucks.
He really sucks.
In typical Fishman tradition.
There's like a Green Lantern character.
There's all of them.
All of them. Anyway, he comes in, slaughters the lot of them, and big news, apparently. He slaughters this whole Guardians of the Globe, comes out to Mark, who now has his powers, and they have it out, and Mark does not win at all. In fact...
A reoccurring theme.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
This book is violent.
But it doesn't start out that way. It starts really family-friendly, like an all-ages book.
Could be like a sitcom.
Yeah,
like a Saved by the Bell of comics.
Funny you say that because every trade is named after a sitcom.
It is.
Yeah.
Shit. Man, we're firing on all cylinders. After we record 4 or 5 episodes and we're halfway through a 12-pack, the synopsis, everything, just...
Synapses. Yeah. That's right. Oh, that's right. Invincible, as soon as it drops that day, that's the one book I'm going out to buy and I'm reading immediately. Because I love it.
Do you have a favorite character in the Invincible universe?
Adam Eve is my wife's favorite comic book character of all time.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. It's really hard for me to pick out a favorite, but I do like a lot of characters in there on name alone, because they have the most clever puns for names than any book I've ever read, ever.
If you were waiting for a real reason to read this, the pun inspired names
Yeah.
should do it.
Yeah. I mean, you got Rexplode, Duplicate,
Multiple.
Multipole,
Battle Beast. Not a pun.
No,
but great character.
Yep.
Signed by Ryan Otley.
Ryan Otley himself.
Yep. Very nice. And just I just want to show off some of my shit here.
Yeah.
But another nice character shot of
Yep.
everybody there. So when I do the Troy Potter Walking Dead
Version
way of getting Invincible, and it kills me because I have to wait till they churn out 50 issues.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 2 enormous compendiums so far.
Yeah.
And it's great. Just like Walking Dead, this is the way to read it because this is such a long form storytelling.
Yeah.
Where you just open it up and you could read it in a couple sittings, or you could just sit there and savor it and read like an issue a night.
Yeah.
And you would never get sick of it.
No.
Just sit there. I'll read this in bed, and I'll just turn to my wife afterwards and be like, I love Invincible.
Wow, that was great.
And I tell her that like every night. Good night, honey. I love Invincible. There's a couple kind of spin-offs of the Invincible universe.
Yeah.
There's a Guarding the Globe.
Yeah, I think that went
spin-off.
for 2 trades.
Yep. There's a Science Dog.
Yeah.
Which is the fictional character, the comic book character that Invincible reads.
Yep.
In Invincible.
Yep.
And it's just this great little one-shot standalone thing. There's an Adam, Eve, and Rexplode prequel, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else?
There's the supporting cast that comes in later in Invincible is called the Invincible Universe. It's kind of like Guarding the Globe. I think they just retitled it. And I think that goes on for 2 trades as well.
Okay.
There's the Astounding Wolfman, as well as all the other characters like Best Tiger. He is
Super Patriot, Brit.
Yep.
Others.
The rest. In fact, a lot of the Image universe is kind of in this as well.
Yeah,
because
but is like peripheral characters.
Right.
You don't need to read any of them if you don't want to.
Yeah, and I think this is the one like Image book that's come along more recently that does incorporate like all of the old Image characters that were created when Image was first started.
Does Spawn actually cross over with this ever? In one issue?
He's in one issue barely. Like also Savage Dragon is and like Dark Hawk or whatever.
Yeah, they tried this character out.
Yeah,
and it didn't pan out.
But they're in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's one story arc that I don't think lived up to its name.
Viltrumite War?
Viltrumite War. I felt like it was kind of all over the place. Mm-hmm. It was the one story that I didn't feel like I got enough of. And it just kind of jumped around. And it was a very interesting concept. It's like, do you ever see like The One? With like Jet Li? And there's like a bunch of alternate versions of himself. Well, they all come to the same world and they're wreaking havoc and Invincible has to fight them all. And I feel like...
You know what that one felt like? It felt like a crossover title where you were only reading the main storyline and the crossovers gave a lot more information. Yeah. But there weren't any. So you're like, oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Huh, okay. I
know.
Guess. I agree.
It never really lived up to its name.
Ah! I feel like this broke us. I don't know how to come back from this. It's great. The art is beautiful. It's consistent. It looks amazing in every issue. The characters are great.
Yeah.
Storylines, unique.
Yep.
But yet familiar.
Exactly. And they also take big, huge risks as well. Like, they, I think at one point, destroy the moon.
Why not?
And go there, and they build like a satellite moon that like people live in. Like, they really take chances with characters in this book that you would never see like the big two take chances with.
You know one of my favorite?
What's that?
Well, there's a character named Dinosaurus.
Yes.
Best name ever. And he is like an eco-terrorist who is a flat-out dinosaur.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of like a Hulk-like character who can turn into this dinosaur person.
Right.
Yeah.
And he realizes that humans are just wrecking the world.
Yep.
And the world would be better if he wiped a ton of them out.
Yeah.
And he does. And Invincible has to stop him. They fight. And then by the end of it, Invincible's like, shit, man, like...
I see your point.
You're right.
Yeah.
They do that a lot in this, where, like, the bad guy who wants to, like, do something horrible, you could argue it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
And if you, like, put up statistics and shit, they're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's another character, a very long-running character, who's always been a good guy, and then, like, turns on a dime.
Yep.
And it becomes evil, but evil in the sense that he's killing a lot of people, but yet it's for the good of something else.
Right.
And immediately your knee-jerk reaction is like, stop him. But you listen to his point, and you're like, God damn it, he has a point.
Screw you and your points.
Yeah, and then, like, the world is better because of what he did.
Yeah, and they're living in, like, a golden time.
A utopia.
Yeah.
Because of one horrible act that this guy did.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy all-out superhero blast, but it's very much like a thinking man's comic, too, where you're like, shit, that poses a lot of good points.
Yeah. I think that's, like, the best part about Invincible.
Yep.
Because that happens, like, in big points throughout.
Yeah, he hits these milestones. The whole thing is Mark's journey to become this Superman type of character. Mm-hmm. And all these little things, these side steps that he has along the way that make him into the man he is.
Yeah.
Right now, they just finished up a reboot arc.
Yeah. At this point, he's not living on Earth, and so him and his brother that he accompanies at some point in time in the series.
God, there's a lot to get into.
But they go to this planet to check out something, and they eventually go into this cave where this weird glowing spaghetti monster...
Love spaghetti.
...is like a time-traveling creature, sends Mark back to before he became invincible to pretty much, like, iron out the works of his life so he can change certain things. And when he gets to the point where he needs to change it, he takes a left turn and doesn't do it.
If he does what's best for the timeline, he won't have a kid anymore.
Yeah.
And he would save millions, and it would be apparently for the better.
Yep.
But he's like, no. Can't imagine my life without my kid.
Yeah.
And the spaghetti monster is like, no, you made a mistake.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the present.
Yeah.
And has to deal with the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he doesn't always make the choice for the betterment of mankind.
Yeah.
He's just as human as anyone else.
Right.
And it's like, no, I would not give up my child for millions of people.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting book.
Right, yeah.
Really good. It is amazingly consistent.
Yeah. Oh my god.
As, like, always an 8.5, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Every issue.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it again. It's an amazing read. It's my favorite read. Everyone should read it. Period.
It's your favorite?
Yeah, it is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Feel like we've uncovered Turn to Stone.
We've really said a lot about our lives here.
It's good. It's healing. It's learning. It's wonderful.
So anyway, tell me what your favorite character is. Do you like Invincible? Do you hate Invincible? Have you ever read Invincible? Let us know down below what you think. But until next time, I'm Troy the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And we'll see you, new comic book day, next week.
That's Wednesday.